You are in for a treat.
Yes.
Well, the A's are coming back from what was one of their
Turn
best
up the volume,
more than a
please.
decade tonight, opening up a new series in hosting Cleveland. Our
Crank
coverage
up the
begins
volume.
from the treehouse right now with Pregame
Yeah.
Live.
Loud. Thank you.
It's a Kelly Green Friday. It's an authentic fan Friday. It's also Bark at the Park night here at the Coliseum. So if you hear some howling, that's not Dave Stewart. It might be people yelling, Stu!
Yeah.
Here at the Treehouse, that's where we bring you Pregame Live as the A's set to open up a 3-game series with Cleveland. Welcome to Pregame Live, presented by River Rock Casino. Brody Brazil with Dave Stewart. And the last time we were here, the A's had just taken 2 of 3 from the Angels. Everybody feeling good because, oh yeah, they got back to 500. Well, what do they do on the road trip? They win 8 of 10. They're now 6 over 500. That's got a great ring to it.
They had a killer road trip, which is exactly what they needed. But that's what's great about this team. They're resilient. They keep coming back.
Yep.
They don't quit. The pitching is starting to pick up again. The bullpen's been solid.
I'm gonna try to.
And when you play solid defense, your offense is coming through, and the starting pitching is good.
Well, until I
you got
leave.
a chance to win games.
Go for
About
Business,
20
presented by
minutes in.
Comcast Business. So the A's swept 2 in San Diego. They split 4 games on the south side of Chicago. Then they swept 4 games in Detroit. And the one thing you mentioned, Stu, the A's showed a lot of comeback ability in this road trip. Like, they didn't always have leads. In fact, sometimes they spotted the White Sox 5. They spotted the Tigers 6. I know you don't always want to win this way, but the fact the A's showed that they could win from behind, I think said a lot about it.
Well, it's a character builder. When you can come back and win games, I believe in Detroit they were down by 6 runs.
Yep.
They came back and won that game. When you keep coming back and you're winning games in that manner, in that fashion, it's the ability to come back. It builds confidence, it builds character, and that's great for a young ball club.
A lot of microcosms on that road trip, which have rung true the entire season so far. The comeback ability, the never say quit part of the team, but also Jed Lowry. Dude has been on fire. This is the same Jed Lowry who had such a hot start to the season. And at some point in early June, right, he tailed it back just a little bit offensively, and nobody seemed worried. In fact, Bob Melvin laughed at the word slump with Jed Lowry. Here's the interesting thing. He has since moved over defensively to play third base, which could also throw you off your rhythm, but all Jed has done here in his last 2 weeks, but most specifically 10 games, has hit for a .357 average to also 4 homers in his past 10 games. Who is this Jed Lowry?
The Jed Lowry that we saw early in the year. If Shirley Babbitt was here, he said, Jed Lowry.
Jed
The Jed Lowry we saw early in the season. This guy's been consistent all year. He's had a little bit of a lull, but he never really went under the water. Now he's back on top of the water, doing what he did early in the year. He's hitting the top of the order. This is their best clutch hitter, their most disciplined hitter. He is the guy that we know he can be.
All the experts say he has professional at-bats. When you hear that, professional at-bats, isn't that like the ultimate compliment that you'd like to hear if you were a hitter?
It's the greatest compliment you can give to a hitter when you say he's had professional at-bats or he's a professional hitter. That's as good a compliment as you're going to get in this game.
I alluded a little bit to the 4 homers that he hit in the last 10 games on that road trip, but here's a guy known for doubles, right? He finds the gap. Not the speediest of feet, but he finds the way to get to second base easily. He was hitting the long balls, like I said, on the road trip, and there's also this aspect of Jed Lowry, Stu. If he's not an all-star this time around, I don't know what it's going to take. He's hitting .294 this season. That's about 20 points higher than his approximate .275 career average. So I think he's due to be rewarded.
Well, I think for sure he's going to get a very, very good look, and he should.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, he should be an all-star.
But I know you're going to say but.
You got to look at the other second baseman in the league.
Altuve.
When you look at Altuve at the top, but that still means that there's another spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you take your extras, and he will probably, in my opinion, and he should make it as an extra.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that people don't get an opportunity to do that we have the convenience of on a day-to-day basis is to see him play every day. And when you watch him play every day, you see the at-bats that he takes, his defensive play, his leadership on the field as well as in the clubhouse. It's a totally different dimension than the rest of baseball knows about Jed Lowry.
All right, coming up, we have to take a commercial break here on Pregame Live. In our next segment, Jed Lowry on the field during batting practice earlier, giving a couple hugs to former teammates that are now on Cleveland's roster. We'll do our Generations segment and revisit some of our old A's friends as we get ready for Game 83 on the season. Oakland starting off a 5-game homestand us through the 4th of July.
We know our customers have busy lives. That's why we're working hard to improve our customer service.
Yeah.
Now we offer two.
There you go. Thanks.
Live is brought to you by Max Muscle Nutrition at its 30 NorCal locations. Professional health and nutrition advice available for all ages.
Thank you.
Yonder Alonso was a well-liked member of the Oakland Athletics during his time here. A couple former familiar faces there. Raj Davis, you see him giving hugs and handshakes. Both these guys deserving of
we were there for all that
during their times.
That's when we were on the field.
A's, but now they've moved on to be members of the Cleveland Indians. That brings us to generations. Do you like that?
I do like
a little
that.
sappy music to go along with it too.
Like it,
a couple guys we know firsthand. Yonder Alonso, of course, 2 seasons with the A's, including last, was an All-Star, very deserving of that honor. Raj Davis, 2 different stints, 2008 to 2010, and last year, as well as Dan Everyday Otero, a staunch member of the A's bullpen from 2013 to 2015. Any one of those particular guys you want to kind of reminisce about the most? I'll pick another one if you pick the first one.
It'd be tough to not reminisce about all of them. I mean, the 2 that stick out in mind, which are probably the closest to, are Yonder Alonso and Raj.
Yeah.
You know, Raj was here last year, and you know, left at the trade deadline, and Yonder Alonso had an All-Star season. And we thought he was the backbone of the team, but your prediction came true. The teams, they played close to 500 in the second half.
Without him.
Yeah. And so, you know, both those guys are the guys that I reminisce most about.
I'll just give you a little bit on Dan Otero, a guy that came out of the bullpen to pitch for Bob Melvin almost every day, and that's why he earned that nickname. But certainly 3 guys that we're still very fond of, and we wish the best to now that they're in Cleveland. Let's welcome in our guest, because this is Authentic Fan Friday. Stu, firsthand, I'd like you to meet Ernesto, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And last name?
Ernesto Cardenas.
And you're from Sacramento?
Yes.
All right, so you came up with the Authentic Fan Friday artwork. Go ahead and show pose with Stu right there.
What's
Right in the middle.
on that side?
You made this. Now, first off, I want to apologize to you. We didn't give you a whole lot to work with here, especially with that face. Great job on that face. Your thoughts?
I've always been a big fan of Dave Stewart. I always used to imagine how it would be to bat against a pitcher with your stare. So it's just an honor. It's just
Tell you
real
what.
honor.
Oh, man, this is so cool.
That's an outstanding job that you did with that. That is unbelievable.
Hey, Ernesto, tell me about the time process. Like, how does it start? How long did it take you to do that? Do you do that on computer? How do you do that?
Wow, process is really just about picking a direction in the art. For this project, I really wanted to focus in on old school baseball cards.
Yeah.
And I think it came through.
I see that because the Nesto 1 down there in the corner is like a top song.
Yes, it is.
Really well done. Hey, you're seeing these real quick. You're seeing these around the ballpark tonight. How do you feel to see everybody holding your artwork in their hands?
It feels great.
That's awesome.
It's a dream come true.
Awesome. Hey, Ernesto, congratulations. Great job here. And make sure you give a high five and a handshake to Stu on your way out.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is very cool. Great job. Let's hear it for Ernesto. Great job on the artwork tonight with the cheer cards. That also brings us to history. On this day, the 29th of June, I believe it was, 28 years ago in Toronto. Did you know about this? I mean, is this on your radar? This is the anniversary of the no-no against the Blue Jays?
No, man, I didn't know a thing about it.
Of course you did. But it was so special that you got to have this moment with the A's the year after the World Series. Obviously, you guys went to another World Series in the 90 campaign as well. But all these years removed, Stu, what's the takeaway of having that on your resume?
You know, once again, it's something that they can never take away. I mean, I was there, I did it. You know, I'm a part of Major League history. However many guys that have done it, I'm still a part of it. But even more importantly, my teammates were a big piece of that. I mean, you remember the play by Mark McGuire that in the early innings that made it possible for me to throw that to the last out that Dave Henderson caught. So I remember it as if though it was yesterday.
The best thing, he said he had a rocky bullpen session. Oh, and then halfway through the game, who did you tell tell they have no chance?
I told Dave Duncan, I said,
The pitching
these
coach.
guys got no
Blue
chance.
Jays have no chance. He knew he was going to finish off the no-no.
Yep.
All right, we got to take another commercial break here on Pregame Live. On the other side of these messages, hey, there are some rumblings that Chris Davis would take part of the Home Run Derby at the All-Star Weekend, and that the skipper Bob Melvin would be the one throwing to him. More on that. We'll bring in Glenn and Ray for the broadcast as we get ready for Game 1 of 3 against Cleveland here at the Coliseum.
A's Pregame Live is presented by River Rock Casino. Win a new Mercedes-Benz C300. Details at riverrockcasino.com.
Real talk.
Super hit. Thank you.
All weekend, but
That's
also
right.
Jed Lowry,
Good.
Matt Chapman. I mean, if you're going to win a Gold Glove, you should probably also be an All-Star in that season. Crush the vote early and often right now at MLB.com. Speaking of Chris Davis, no homers in his last dozen games. And you know I'm saying that because we all know it's due to change. He loves night games. He loves the opposite field. He loves hitting homers here at the Coliseum. He'll get that chance against Trevor Bauer here tonight, the righty from Cleveland. Here's a look at the A's starting 9, what their skipper Bob Melvin has for the Indians. Dustin Fowler leading off in center field. Matt Joyce batting second. He's in left. Jed Lowry playing and batting third. Chris Davis cleaning up as the DH with Olsen at first. Piscotty behind him in right. Marcus Semien the shortstop. Luke Roy doing the catching. And Franklin Barreto batting ninth and playing second base. That brings us to our first pitch. Time to bring in Glenn Kuiper and Ray Fosse. They'll have our broadcast here tonight on NBC Sports California. So, guys, word came out, rumblings, I should say, came out that Chris Davis would be willing to participate in the Home Run Derby at the All-Star Game. I know everybody's got differing opinions on, you know, your big bopper participating, maybe risking something. Just talking to Bob Melvin today, he didn't oppose it. Wondering how you guys feel about that opportunity.
Yeah, I think he should do it. I think it's great. Anytime the green and gold jersey can be on display, whether it be in the All-Star Game or the Home Run Derby. Remember Cespedes did it, and it was unbelievable. He put on a great show. So I hope he does do it. I think it would be fun, and I think it would be a chance for baseball to get to know Chris Davis a little bit better because we know what a terrific hitter he is.
I like that last part was outstanding because I don't know that a lot of people know him. People say, wait a minute, who is this guy? But, the thing about Chris Davis, I don't think anything's going to affect his swing. I mean, if you pitch to him like in batting practice, that type of velocity, he's going to crush balls just like Cespedes did, but it didn't affect Cespedes. The only guy I really think it affected was Bobby Abreu in Detroit, because after that he didn't hit that many home runs. He had a ton, won the Home Run Derby that year in Detroit, but I just don't think it's going to affect him. Certain guys it does, but I think in the case of Chris Davis, he would be perfect for it.
I think it's interesting. Brody made a point of the fact that Chris Davis hasn't homered in 12 games. Okay, you know what? You're right. He's struggling. The A's have won 10 out of those 12, and I think that's a great sign because it shows that I think the lineup is really, really long. It's producing from top to bottom, even with your cleanup hitter really struggling, and I think that's a terrific sign for this team.
You know, that's perfect, as we talked about on the road trip, because you look at everybody else in the lineup contributed, and all the guys that contributed when they hit 27 consecutive games, at least one home run. But let's not forget also, guys, 2 games in San Diego, 4 in Detroit, probably the biggest yards I've ever seen.
That's true.
And you look at 6 games on that 10-game trip in which the A's had 4 in one game that could have been home runs here. They were out in Detroit. So that says a lot. But listen, Chris Davis is a streak hitter. He could get on a roll. He could hit 10 in this 5-game series. Who knows what he can do, but he's a great hitter.
And I know Ray and I both want to say happy anniversary to Dave Stewart, the no-hitter anniversary on a special night in Toronto. Stu, nice job.
Make sure you stare at everybody out there, because that stare is the most important thing about, well, you can pitch too, but that stare was outstanding.
They're howling his name out here, guys, in the treehouse. Stu, it is all smiles, no stares tonight. I think he's loving this. Hey, NBC Sports is debuting a documentary tonight called Fair Play Youth Sports in America, 10:30 or right after Postgame Live here on NBC Sports California. The program featuring an interview with Warrior star Steph Curry, exploring the benefits and challenges of youth sports from the perspectives of kids and their parents again tonight. right after A's postgame live here on NBC Sports. Speaking of U Sports, Brody Brazil, Dave Smoke Stewart, along with Warren and
Dalton.
And where are you guys from?
I'm from Eureka. I'm from Reading.
Okay, so way up north. First off, you guys play sports, I imagine, right? Just give me the thought on what you think it means to you at this age to be part of a team.
It's good to exercise and we got brothers on the team.
Camaraderie?
Yeah.
How about you?
It's basically just, fun to be outside, have some exercise, be with your friends.
Yeah, all right, good stuff. So, I didn't plan this segment, okay? I want to say that from the start. What we'd like you to do is take the bat, go around it 10 times, count out every time you pass, right, the starting point. If you can make it through 10 rotations, we have a prize for each of you. You ready to go first? Fire away. We're going to count for it. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait. He's standing. All right. We have a prize for you. We'll get his prize coming up. All right. Let's let your buddy get a crack. So you did it. Congratulations. Try number 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm here for you. 7, 8, 9. One more. There it is. You know what? The fact that nobody got hurt deserves a prize in itself. I think we have your prize bags here for you guys. All right, take a slow walk. And we really appreciate this. How about a hand for our contestants from up north? All right, we're going to take a break. Final segment of Pregame Live is coming up next. Now that we know the A's are past the halfway point of the season, we know they're 6 games over 500. What should we expect in the second half and up to the All-Star break? It is Bark at the Park night here at the Coliseum. More than 600 canines expected to be in attendance.
When you're America's best value, you don't need a whole lot of hoopla. What you need is a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and an IIHS Top Safety Pick Award.
And you're gonna need one of these because these cars are out of this world.
Smooth. Real smooth.
Youth sports is not the game it once was. In a new documentary, NBC Sports explores the challenges kids and adults are now win a new Mercedes-Benz C300. Details at riverrockcasino.com.
Our 50 memorable moments celebrating the A's 50 years in Oakland. It's a competition. It's elimination style. It's all done via your votes on Twitter. And as you're probably aware, Dallas Braden's perfect game has been dominating for like 13 weeks or something like that already. But tonight it opposes a cycle Eric Burns hit for against the Giants. Let's take a look at that.
Check swing and a looper's going to find a hole and drop in center field. Throw to the alley in right center field. That's going to split the difference. And Burns at second with an RBI double. Deep to center. Awfully well hit. Gone! A center field home run by Eric Burns. Fly ball to center. Valderrama coming on. It bounces by him. He's going to chase it down. Burns triple cycle. Holy Toledo. Unbelievable.
On this very day, however many years ago, Burns hit for the cycle. Stu threw a no-hitter, but right now, Burns not even close.
I don't think people realize how tough it is to hit for a cycle.
Yeah. Well, maybe you were to throw a perfect game. We're not sure what it's going to take to knock Dallas Braden off. I say Game 4 of the '89 World Series, but that's just me, and I'm sure we will eventually see that. Brody Brazil, Dave Stewart, final segment here at Pregame Live. So, the A's have an interesting schedule from right now until the All-Star break, and we know that they're 6 above 500 at this point, but Cleveland is no joke. They have the same amount of wins as the A's do, 44. They're also 8-2 in their last 10. The A's do maybe get a break on paper playing the Padres for a couple games, but then right back to the world champion Houston Astros and then the Giants before the All-Star break. Here's the full list of schedules, I should say. Cleveland twice in there as part of the road trip. How do you see, Stu, the next couple weeks going until we get to the Midsummer Classic? Can the A's keep the pace that they've been on here in the last 2 weeks?
I think it's a matter of the cycle of the way the team is playing. Right now, they're on a really, really nice upward swing. They had a great road trip.
17.
They've been playing well at home. I love where these guys are going to the All-Star break playing really, really well. I really do. They've got a golden opportunity. The pitching is coming around again. The starting pitching is coming around again. The bullpen has been solid. They've always been good offensively. Defensively, they played well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing real good baseball.
6 over 500. It is as good as they've been since the 2014 season. I don't know that anybody expected that, but the one thing you can say about this team, they have flirted with 500 nearly the entire season. Like, even if they go through this season and end it after 162 at about the 500 mark, I don't know that anybody's going to be completely disappointed with that. This is one of those step forward type seasons.
I don't know how you can be disappointed. I do think that this ball club has played better than anybody thought they would coming into this season.
With some injuries, look at their rotation.
And they've overcome the injuries.
Yeah.
And they've continued. I mean, it started from day one with your number one starter not pitching well for you and sending it back to the minor leagues. I mean, I believe everything goes and works around the starting rotation. And they've survived that. And so I think that this ball club has a very good chance to play not well over 500, but to play over 500.
Should I even use the word playoffs right now for this team? I don't want to. I just say play well, and I'm happy with that.
I think we should count on playing well.
It's one of those interesting things because you see the A's are not that far off from a wild card spot here, Stu. But again, I think it's not about the standings. It's about player development and how you can end the season with your record. And again, right now the A's at 44 wins. I think they're pretty satisfied with that, even though they think they're capable of more. Here's our triple play. 3 things you need to know about this 29th of June. It was 28 years ago today. It's Dave Stewart through the fifth no-hitter in Oakland history. That one at Sky Dome in Toronto against the Blue Jays. Trevor Bauer, he gets the start tonight for Cleveland, ranking 3rd in the American League in strikeouts. First in outings with double-digit Ks. He's done that 7 times this season. And as we told you before, Jed Lowry is on fire, hitting almost 300 as opposed to his career average of 275. I'll say this, Stu, one thing we know the A's are kind of prone to is striking out a lot with a strikeout pitcher.
Yeah, they are, but somewhere in all those strikeouts, if the game is close, they find a way to get that winning run to the plate in the last inning.
I'm going to make sure we say this on television. Chris Davis hasn't homered in a dozen games. I think that changes tonight.
You know that's going to be over.
For Stu, I'm Brody. Game's next.
McDonald's new fresh beef.